Um, Nancy, I can do the chores on my own. I don't need any guidance from you.
What are you talking about?
Because you don't do your chores properly, Michael doesn't feel comfortable and can't work at home.
What?
You come home late every night, and how come you earn only $3,000 a month?
What? Are you having an affair?
Huh?
Because you are. You work until late at night and only $3,000.
My mother-in-law, Nancy, blamed me for something I never did based on the absurd misunderstanding. I sighed and I said, "It's my husband's statement, you know." My name is Alice. I'm a 28-year-old office worker. I met my husband, Michael, 3 years ago. He was a representative of one of my clients. I am someone you might call a career woman. I was efficient in my work, but I could be impatient and narrow-minded at times. I was good at my job, but I could come across as a little intimidating. And then I met Michael. He had a very calm and easygoing personality. As we spent time working together and get to know each other, I started to have a more relaxed mindset. I had a tendency to get frustrated easily, but I started to become calm. People at my work told me that my facial expression softened somehow. Then one day, Michael asked me out for lunch. After that, we would often go out for dinner, started dating, and then our relationship became official. And after a year, he proposed me, and we got married. We got along well as a married couple. Michael has a calm personality. It's a good thing, but there are times when I think he's too laid back. When we go out together, he won't be ready until the last minute. When I ask him to take out the trash or clean the house, he does it too slowly. I've come a long way of working on my impatient nature, but I still think he's too laid back. I often fail to hold it in and say things to him because I feel he is too laid back. At first, he apologized and said, "Oh, sorry." But he started to get annoyed with me and complained, "Why are you rushing me so much? It's not worth fighting over such little things." I regretted how I treated him. Since then, I tried not to say anything about how my husband does his things. But then something I couldn't possibly tolerate happened. It all started when one day my husband said to me, I got fired from my job." "What? What happened?" He said, "They can't just overlook it anymore." "Huh? What have you done?"
"I've been late too many times."
"Huh?"
"My husband leaves home 30 minutes later than me. I would leave the house before him, so I had no way of knowing if he was late or not."
"Too many times? How many times were you late?"
"Well, actually, it's kind of almost every day."
"What? How?"
When I asked him about more details, I found out that my husband was not just a little late every time. He was often an hour or 2 hours late.
"How could you be that late? By the time I leave, you're already up, you're dressed, and you're already. You should be able to make it on time."
"Yeah, I was being careless. I sometimes fell asleep or I lost track of time while playing video games, and then I'm late by the time I realize."
"What? I don't understand."
"You don't take your work seriously, do you?" My boss said the same thing to me. No wonder you got fired. Did you really think you could get away with it?
Well, I suppose it can be helped.
What's wrong with you? Go and apologize to your boss. You have to ask him to give you another chance.
No, that won't be possible. I've already said I understood.
Why did you quit the company so easily?
Well, to be honest, I thought it might be a good opportunity.
What opportunity do you mean?
I was appalled by his nonchalant appearance.
Then, what now? What are you going to do? You have no job.
Well, I'll get the unemployment benefits, so I can start working after that stops paying.
Don't you think you might as well start working sooner?
But I'll get the unemployment benefits. I don't need to push myself to work.
Seriously?
I began to think that my husband might be just lazy rather than laid back.
After that, no matter what I said, he would dismiss me, saying,
I don't want to work as long as my unemployment benefits are coming in.
And he just stayed at home, and he didn't do the housework, nor did he cook dinner for me. On the contrary, he would eat foods from the fridge, and he leaves the dishes he used at lunchtime unwashed. I would get annoyed and point that out to him every time.
Oh, I'll do that next time.
And tries to let it slide. To be honest, I was getting more and more disappointed with my husband. And then one day, when I came home from work, the inside of the house was very clean. The sink in the kitchen was spotless. No plates left on the table. The floors were also clean. What happened? This house is very clean today, I asked Michael, who was in the living room, lying down in the couch. He looked up at me and said,
Huh? Oh, hey Alice, you're home.
At that moment, I heard the sound of flashing in the toilet. Then the bathroom door opened. I turned around and saw someone unexpected. It was my mother-in-law who came out of the bathroom. Oh, Nancy!
Alice, it's been a long time. You just got home. Don't you think it's too late?
It's been a long time, but every time I see her, she always finds something to complain. I wasn't terribly excited to see her. It's not that I disliked her, but she was the one who disliked me. When I married Michael, I went to see my parents-in-law for the first time. My mother-in-law frowned when I mentioned the name of the college I graduated from. Are we supposed to be impressed that you have a degree from a prestigious college? I don't like pretentious women. I was shocked to hear this, and this was our first meeting. My father-in-law immediately said, That's not a nice thing to say. You're just being envious. Then Nancy fell silent immediately, but even after that, she made sure that I know she didn't like me. I started to have a hard time with Nancy. That is how I wasn't too happy to see her. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were coming. If I knew, I would have come home earlier.
You are such a shameful wife. Your husband is taking a paid day off to stay home, and you're working instead of doing your chores?
What? I looked at Michael.
Well, Mom, thanks for coming over today. You've been so helpful. Please stay for dinner, would you? Alice will cook right up.
What? Who says who will cook?
No, I don't want to eat dinner made by Alice.
I don't want to cook for you either, Nancy said. See you soon, exclusively to Michael, and left. Once she left, I said to Michael, Did you ask your mother to clean the house for you?
How could you think that I did? I told her today's my day off and she just came over to see me. Then she saw all the mess in the house and she cleaned it up.
Oh no.
What? What's wrong with it? It's clean now and it's nice, isn't it?
Yes, but it must have appeared as if I never did housework at all.
I don't think she cares about that.
Didn't you hear what she just said to me? She was outright complaining about me.
What? She was?
I was totally appalled. He doesn't seem to care about other people at all. I doubt he ever considered what people were thinking or what they care about. And after that night, Nancy continued to visit us. When I came home from work, she was just there, unannounced. She would complain about this and that, and then leave.
Do you work like that every day?
You must be so proud of being a career woman.
But I wish you didn't neglect your work as a wife.
I work late because my husband had no job. Unemployment benefits only cover a certain amount, and that wouldn't be enough. That's why I'm trying to make up the difference.
You don't do the chores and you don't have a baby. I feel sorry for Michael that he married such a bad wife.
Nancy says, my mother-in-law says whatever she wants about me. I wish she would be more upset with Michael being too lazy. Why doesn't she ask Michael to do the chores when he stays at home all day long? Is it because she just doesn't like me that she keeps complaining about me all the time? Last time, Michael played dumb by saying that it was his paid day off. But now that his unemployment benefit is exhausted and Nancy visits us quite often, I'm sure she's wondering why he's home all the time. Michael did start working after his unemployment benefits ended, but it was only a part-time job, and it's only on Saturdays and Sundays. Apparently, he wanted to stay home during the weekdays because I was out for work and he had the house to himself. I've gotten so much slack up until now, but this has become too much. Hey, would you be able to work a little more? You know, just because I'm working full-time, it doesn't mean you can afford to be a part-timer. What if we're going to have a baby? We're going to need a lot more money.
What? Are you going to have a baby?
I said if.
Oh well, why do you have to talk about something that hasn't happened yet?
I'm just trying to say that I want you to get a proper job.
Why do I have to? We are happy enough just the way we are now.
That's because I'm working overtime and earning money, isn't it?
I think you're good at work, so it's good that you're working longer hours.
You can do a little more at least, can't you?
I'm already doing my hardest.
You have your mom to do the housework, don't you?
She's visiting because she wants to see me. Oh, speak of Mom, she said since she'd been visiting here so often, maybe she should move in.
What? No, wait. I don't want to do that.
Why not?
Because your mom and I don't get along. You know that.
I think you guys are doing just fine.
How can you possibly think that? I'm telling you, I don't like this idea.
Don't say that. I've already told her that would be no problem. Mom's more than ready.
Oh boy. I had enough. Michael was acting so randomly. Nancy usually visited our house on weekdays when Michael was home, but now she started visiting on weekends too while he was out for work. Nancy said, I am going to train you to be a better housewife because you'll be living with me soon.
A real wife should be good at housework. Nancy would say something like that and kept giving me all kinds of instructions. I was left alone with my mother-in-law on my days off, and I was forced to do the housework with my mother-in-law all day. I was pressured and exhausted. Nancy? I can do the housework just fine by myself. I don't need your instructions. What are you talking about? It's because you can't do the housework properly that Michael cannot focus on work at home. What? What do you mean? Michael told me. You are too busy at work and barely home, and the house is too messy to concentrate on his work from home. That's why I come here regularly to do the housework that you are supposed to do. Wait a minute. Did Michael say that? Yes, he did. He told me he couldn't complain because you seem to be enjoying your work so much. He's such a kind boy. And you, on the other hand, you took advantage of Michael's kindness and neglected your obligations. Also, I just found your pay stub. You are not even making good money at all. What? Did you just read my pay stubs without asking me first? Shut up. I found it when I was cleaning up. By the way, you come home late every night to earn only $3,000 a month? What? Are you having an affair? What? Because you are. You work until late at night and only $3,000. That's not suspicious. I know what it is. You work only part-time, and the rest of the time you were seeing another man, weren't you? Oh, I knew it. An independent, educated, self-centered woman like you thinks she's a queen, that she is so important that she can do whatever she wants. But when I get the evidence for your affair, I will send you to hell. You'll pay for betraying Michael. Nancy ranted about something I never actually did. There must be a huge misunderstanding. I sighed and said to her, That's Michael's statement, if I'm not mistaken. What? No, it can't be. He has a full-time job. Just because he started working from home, it doesn't mean he's getting paid less, does it? Michael got fired from his job for being late too many times. What? You can just call the company to check. He's working part-time on weekends, but he doesn't want to take up any more work than that. Nancy looked confused by what she just heard, but wasn't convinced. You are lying to me. Good try, but you can't deceive me. If you say so, I'm done with all this. What do you mean you're done? I'm divorcing Michael. What did you just say? I tried to talk to Michael so many times, but he wouldn't listen, and you are always picking on me. I'm going to pack and leave. When I said that, Nancy was upset at first, but then she started arguing with me again. Oh, really? I'm glad I don't have a daughter-in-law like you anymore. Michael would be better off living with another decent woman. Get out of here. I'll celebrate your divorce. Thank you. I'll go to my parents' house then. I'll ask my lawyer about the divorce proceedings. My son will finally have peace. It would be me regaining the long-lost peace, I thought to myself. I rushed to pack up my things and went to my parents' house. I have been talking to my parents about this for a while, and they told me it would be better to get a divorce. They welcomed me when I knocked on the door. A few hours later, I ignored all calls from Michael. Then I got a call from Nancy. I answered the phone. Nancy sounded unnerved. Hey, What's wrong, Nancy? Alice, I am sorry for what I just said earlier. Michael told me everything. I can't believe your salary was over $6,000 a month. Michael's was $3,000. I told you it was my husband's. I'm sorry I misunderstood. Also, you were the one paying the rent, weren't you? Since Michael lost his job, yes, I was paying it. I apologize for the bad things I've said to you. So, I need you to come back. Michael's mad at me and yells at me. I know I can count on you. What? What do you mean? Then Nancy told me a shocking news. She had been having an affair, and my father-in-law found out about it. They'll be getting a divorce soon, and she is about to be kicked out of his house. She says she is putting it off for now, saying she has something to do before she leaves. She was planning to move into the house where Michael and I were living in. Is this the reason why you're trying to get me back? Because I was paying the rent? So that you won't have to worry about the rent. Please. I didn't know that Michael was such a lousy man. I'm already broke because I have to pay compensations. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I don't love Michael anymore, and I don't like you either. You'll have to manage on your own. No, please, no. Then I heard Michael on the phone. Oh, hey, Alice. At that moment, I immediately hung up. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I just texted him to say, "You can talk to my lawyer." Then I blocked him on my phone. Of course, I didn't forget to block Nancy's number too. After that, thanks to my lawyer, the divorce was successfully finalized. According to a mutual friend, Michael lives in a cheap apartment with his mother. They are living a poor life. Moreover, Michael got fired again from his twice-a-week part-time job because he was unfailingly late. At this point, I don't think I can save him anymore. On the other hand, I moved to an apartment near my office. I was able to make myself a more ideal environment to focus on my career. As a result, I got promoted. I earn a lot more now. I am not looking for a relationship for a while, so I am going to concentrate on my work. Her husband seems like a really lousy person, and he doesn't even feel bad about it. That makes him even worse. And the mother-in-law got what she deserved, right? The two probably has to live in poverty for a long time. Keep up the good work, Alice. Thank you for sticking around until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you've enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.
My mother-in-law Claire is crouching down with her hands at her stomach. Paramedics arrived immediately. They carry Claire on a stretcher. Are you her daughter? Claire is clutching her stomach. She looks at me and says, "She's just my son's wife. She's not my daughter." Even though Claire seems to be in such pain, she corrects them. "Oh, I see. But you're a relative, aren't you? Could you please come with us?" The paramedic asked. I gave her a cold look and said, "I will not come with you. My name is Mary, a 27-year-old housewife. My husband Tim and I have been married for 3 years. Tim and I met at a party hosted by a friend. Tim is very cheerful and friendly to anyone. I found him kind and nice. I am shy, so I admire people like him. I never thought he would be interested in me. However, he strongly approached me. 'Mary, Are you interested in camping? What? Camping? I've only done it once when I was a student. I see. Well, I really like camping. Would you like to go camping with us sometime? Sure. First, we went camping with 4 of us. And then I started talking to him often, so we got closer. He often asked me out to dinner and other stuffs, and we officially became a couple. After dating him for about 2 years, he proposed to me, so we got married. I was very happy when he asked me to marry him, and was at the peak of my happiness. After that, we went to his house to tell his parents about our marriage. My impression on his parents was good. His father was a cheerful and kind person just like him. His mother was quiet. She was smiling when we met and did not speak much. So I thought she and I were alike and felt fond of her. I realized that it was a mistake when I visited my parents-in-law's house for a family gathering. As soon as Claire saw me, she looked at me coldly and said, "Hurry up and come to the kitchen to help me." And when I went to the kitchen, she said harshly, "You moron! Can't you move faster?" At first, I thought she was acting like that because she was busy. But she made me clean every nook and cranny that nobody would look at the party. I was exhausted by the time the party started, but Claire didn't care. She gave orders to me one after another. "Can't you see that someone has an empty glass? Go pour the beer." After giving me these orders, Claire said things to the relatives to insult me, such as, "I'm sorry, my daughter-in-law is really useless. She grew up being spoiled, so I need to teach her from the beginning." Claire would say things like that and laugh hysterically. I was surprised that she not only insulted me, but also casually insulted my parents. I glanced at my husband, who was drinking a lot and making a lot of noise. He didn't seem to care about me at all, which made me feel lonely. So, at our first gathering at my in-laws' house, I caught a glimpse of Claire's true nature. She wasn't like me at all. She acted completely different from the time we first met. Perhaps she was trying to determine what kind of woman I was at that time. "Mary, I'm sorry for keeping you busy," said my father-in-law Bob. He saw me that I walked back and forth between the kitchen and the party room. "My wife is bossy and make other people work hard. Tim was our only son, and we had him when we got old, so we spoiled him a little. It may be causing you a little trouble, Mary. If it is, I am sorry." Bob apologized to me. "Oh, it is not, Bob," I replied. At that time, I really didn't feel annoyed so much. I often hear stories about mother-in-laws being strict to their daughters-in-law. I also hear that husbands are not very cooperative. Tim is kind to me when we were alone at home, and he does his share of housework, so I was not that dissatisfied. Bob said, "Thank you for saying so. I'm happy that you married Tim." "Oh, I'm happy to marry Tim as well." Bob's kind attitude eased me greatly. Maybe because there were so many relatives that made Claire's attitude that way. I was surprised indeed, but I thought it was not a good idea to determine what kind of person Claire and Tim were just for this day. After this party, everything returned to normal. Tim is the same as usual. He helps me with the housework. He is kind and cheerful. Tim does not visit his parents' house so often. He only goes back at the Thanksgiving and Christmas. So for about a year after we got married, I hardly had anything to do with Claire. But that changed when Bob was seriously injured in an accident and needed nursing care. Claire asked us to move in with them. "Mary, my mom asked us to move in, and I also worried about my dad. So will you please agree to move into their house?" Tim asked me with serious tone. I was surprised because Tim had never asked me something so seriously. Bob's condition must be bad. I was also worried about Bob. So I agreed to move into my in-laws' place. At this point, I had no idea that it would be the biggest mistake of my life. We moved in and started living with Tim's parents. Claire said with a nice and kind voice, "Thank you for moving in with us. Hope we will get along well from now on." I felt relieved. I felt her attitude is normal. But then she said to me, "Well, get up here and do some cleaning now." "Oh, any problem?" "You married Tim. You must do the housework. Vacuum and wipe the floor as soon as possible." "What are you doing? Hurry up and move." "Oh, okay, Claire." Claire acted like this right after we moved in, so I became worried about my life here at once. She was acting rudely not because she was too busy at the relatives' gathering. She was like that to begin with. Since then, Claire has been pushing me to do all the household chores. As I worked, I could not do housework during the day. However, Claire complained a lot. When I came home from work, Claire forced me to do an unbelievable amount of housework. She left lunch dishes unwashed, so I had to wash the dishes first, then cook dinner, clean the room, bathroom, and so on. In the morning, I had to make breakfast for everyone. Moreover, I had to make Tim's lunch. Claire forced me to do it. "Make sure Tim eats properly and healthy food." So I had to get up early in the morning and cook every day. I became too tired, and both the quality of my housework and my work began to deteriorate. Claire said to me, "You moron! You're so slow! You're really useless!" I became more and more exhausted both physically and mentally. But the saddest part for me was Tim didn't say anything to Claire or me when he saw it. On the contrary, since we moved in, he stopped doing any housework. If he had helped me with the housework as he did before, my workload had been lessened. Well, even if Tim tried to do the housework, probably Claire stopped him and did not let him do it. Still, I wanted him to at least show me that he was willing to support me. I had no choice but to quit my job because I was reaching my limit. Claire had been grumbling about me working, so that was part of the reason as well. I didn't want to spend time with Claire for a whole day, but I had no choice as the workload became too much and I started to feel ill. However, quitting the job did not lessen my workload because in addition to housework, Claire forced me to take care of Bob. "Well, do the housework while I'm gone, Mary." Claire went out to town for shopping and lunch, leaving Bob alone. I couldn't leave Bob alone, so I took care of him while doing the housework. "Mary, I'm so sorry. I didn't think Claire was that helpless and cold-hearted." Bob was quite shocked that Claire left him with me and made me take care of him. They were married because they loved each other. It would be natural for him to feel sad if he was treated this way. I felt sorry for Bob, so I tried to talk to him a lot while I took care of him. He told me a lot about his past and memories with Claire. He also told me about Tim's childhood. I enjoyed talking with him. It was the most relaxing time for me while doing the housework. The rest of the time was really hard. Claire still bullied me, and Tim did not do anything about it. Once I talked to Tim about Claire. He said, "I'm tired from work." He never listened to me at all. After that, Tim became quite cold to me. He started to complain and order me to do housework and so on, just like Claire. I was considering divorce, but I had already quit my job. My parents live in a rural area, so I cannot easily return home. That was why I could not make up my mind about divorce. A year passed with those hard days. Bob was getting weaker and weaker. He could barely talk so long. And Claire and Tim became more and more demanding. I had reached my limit. Then one day, Bob said to me, "Mary, thank you for everything. You worked hard enough. You should free yourself now." What does that mean? Leave Tim and leave this house. You're still young. You shouldn't waste your life here. But I can't live on my own. Leave it to me. Take this key and leave. What's this? I bought a room for you. What? You took such good care of me until now. This is my appreciation. Oh no, I can't accept it. But Mary, if you stay here, you will be suffering more. Please accept it. I want to properly thank you, so I won't regret it. Bob. I decided to accept it as his gratitude and carefully prepared to move. I sent my belongings little by little, so Claire and Tim would not notice. It took quite a long time, but I was almost ready to move. That's when it happened. On Saturday morning, Claire suddenly had a very bad stomach ache. Claire had gone out for drinks with her friends the day before and eaten a lot of raw oysters. Probably that is how she got the stomach ache. Claire crouched down with her hands on her stomach. Then Tim started getting ready to leave. I thought he was taking her to the hospital, but he was not. He picked up the big bag and said, "Well, I'm going camping. Take care of Mom and Dad." I was deeply disgusted. His mother was suffering like this, and he was prioritizing camping. But I didn't want to get angry with him, so I didn't say anything and sent him off. Meanwhile, Claire was writhing in pain on the floor, screaming for an ambulance. So I called an ambulance for her. The paramedics soon arrived and carried Claire on a stretcher. "Are you her daughter?" Claire looks at me, holding her stomach in pain. "She is just my son's wife. She is not my daughter." Claire corrects him even though she was in such pain. "Oh, I see. But you're a relative, aren't you? Can you come with us?" The paramedic asked me. I gave her a cold look and said, "I'm not coming with you. She has bullied me a lot. She even forced me to take care of her own husband. I have gone through a lot. I'm moving out and getting a divorce, so I will be a complete stranger." When I said this, Claire was at a loss for words. Then I went to my room and started packing the rest of my stuff. The paramedics looked uncomfortable and carried Claire out of the house. After I finished packing, I went to Bob's room and said, "Bob, thank you so much for everything you have done for me." He said, No, thank you so much. Be happy," and waved at me. I waved back, left his room, and left the house. Several days ago, I called a helper when Claire was gone. So the helper is supposed to come to the house to take care of Bob, so I could move into my new room in peace. The room Bob bought for me was quite beautiful and spacious. I was surprised. It would probably cost $300,000. By the time I moved in, the name of the room was also changed to mine, so the room has become completely mine. Now all I have to do is to find a job and lead a steady life. A few hours later, Tim called me with rage. "Hey, why didn't you go to the hospital with Mom? She was so mad." "Well, I will be a stranger. I have no reason to go with her, don't I? I'm divorcing you. I left the divorce papers on the table, so please sign them." "Oh no, what? Why?" "You ask me why? If you don't know why, you're a fucking moron. All this time, I've been bullied by your mother. You didn't even care. Moreover, you started to boss me around too. How do you expect me to stick with you forever?" "But if you got divorced, you have nowhere to go, don't you?" "Fortunately, I do have a room that your father gave me. He bought me an apartment room." "Huh?" "Well, that's that. From now on, contact me through my lawyer." "Hey, wait!" I hung up the phone. I heard that Tim and Claire were making a fuss a lot, but Bob settled them down. Bob also called a lawyer and divorced Claire. Then he kicked them out of the house and sold the property and moved to a nursing facility. Claire and Tim lost their house, plus they had to pay alimony that I claimed for their moral harassment. They are now living poorly because of the debts. On the other hand, I got a new job and I'm comfortably living in the room Bob bought for me. From now on, I can enjoy my life. I would like to find something I love to do as well. It was hard to believe that the mother-in-law made her daughter-in-law take care of her husband. It was surprising that the father-in-law gave a nice room to the daughter-in-law. I guess all her hard work has been rewarded. I hope she will meet someone nice and live happily in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.